Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the long-awaited Batcave. I have had this request for absolutely ages, and I have finally decided to come through and make it. This is albeit a simple version of the Batcave, but I think it is still impressive nonetheless. Oh, and also, I made this kind of old school Batmobile to go in the cave, and I'm not actually going to include it as part of this video, but I will make a separate tutorial for this. I'll probably post it the day after, just in case you would like to make it. It's actually really difficult to make this thing and have it look good. I wish that there were like a black stairs block. But anyway, if you enjoy this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate this. I'm hoping to have made this easy for you to make, so if you wouldn't mind, I'm trying to hit 1,000 likes on this video. This did take quite a bit of time to put together, and it will also take quite a bit of time to make, despite the fact I think I've made it quite easy for you. So if we could hit 1,000 likes, I'd really appreciate it. And of course, if you do want to check out the Batmobile, that will be out tomorrow. But without any further ado, so before we begin, I should let you know that this Batcave will require a 57 by 48 block area. That is 57 blocks going backwards by about 48 blocks coming across the front and back. We are building the cave on the surface. We're going to start with the interior and then build the actual physical cave around it. You can build this in the ground if you want to, however, I would not recommend that, as you would of course have to dig down a lot. You'd have to dig out a very large area, but it's completely up to you. I, however, would also leave more space than this. Make sure that you have about 70 blocks by 70 blocks worth of space so you can make the outer part of the cave look realistic. We also need all of these materials that I have in my inventory right now. We'll be starting off with the ones that you can see in my hotbar. Make sure that you have them all. Pause the video if you have to. Lay out the space, grab your stuff, and then we can begin. And just to let you know, there's a lot of information here. I don't want you guys to start making this and then regret it. The way that we're going to build this is we're going to start at the very front of the Batcave, and we're going to work our way backwards. We'll start with the inside of the cave, as crazy as that sounds, and then we will make the outside around it. So this is like where you would walk into the cave. We're working our way backwards. Begin with a row of 2 grey concrete. 1, 2. Then do an up-back diagonal using the grey, like this, and place a block behind it. Do an up-back diagonal, place a block behind it. Do an up-back diagonal, place a block behind it. Do an up-back diagonal, block behind it, and an up-back diagonal, block behind it. You can mark out the block that you last placed by placing a sea lantern behind it. This is what we want to have so far. We then want to extend the sea lantern, which is where the water is going to fall, extend it to the right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then place in front of that 6th sea lantern 2 grey concrete. 1, 2. We now want to copy what we have on the opposite side. So simply place bottom front diagonals and then a block in front and copy that. Repeat that same pattern until you eventually hit the ground. So you should eventually have the same as what you have on the left hand side. We now want to place light grey concrete underneath and in between the 2 sides of this stairway. So basically, one row below and in between the dark grey, we want to place light grey in such a fashion that we are able to make kind of like stairs out of this. The idea is this has to be wide enough to get the Batmobile out of this, and also Batman's flying vehicle that I am actually blanking on the name of right now. I'm sure that you guys all know what I'm talking about, but you want to have kind of like a nice inset stairway sort of deal. What we also want to do is we just want to dig in the ground between the first 2 initial rows of grey and replace that ground using a little bit of light grey as well. That's looking quite good. So now, coming upwards, we want to take the grey blocks that are attached with sea lanterns, and we want to extend those grey blocks with the sea lanterns on them backwards by 6, using grey concrete of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what's special about these 6 blocks is that behind them we want to place ourselves an andesite, so coming outwards, and you want to place andesite coming down to hit the ground like this, because this is going to form a support structure. You also want to take that andesite and you want to place an additional andesite on top of it. You want to place an upside down stone brick stairs coming out of the andesite on the left and right hand sides, with a stone brick slabs on top, and then extend those stone brick slabs inwards by 1. Like this. So you're kind of creating a supporting beam, if you will, for this part of the runway. And you can also place cobblestone wall on top of the andesite, coming upwards like this, and eventually we will build the roof to meet it. So once you have done that, you can continue to extend the grey concrete inwards into the cave by an additional 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. And extend that 6th block up by 1. And then outwards to the right by 1, like this. You then want to extend that block inwards by 1, right by 1, in by 1, right by 1, in by 1, right by 1, in by 1, and right by 1. So you want to have this many. You then want to take the last block you placed and extend it towards the back of the cave by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take that 10th block and extend it inwards towards the center of the cave by 1. And then back 1, in 1, back 1, in 1, back 1, in 1, back 1. You then want to extend that last block across by 8 using grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then take that 8th block and extend it towards you by 1. Then left 1, towards you, left 1, towards you, left 1, towards you, left 1. Then extend that block towards you by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then take that 10th block and extend it right 1, then towards you, right 1, towards you, right 1, towards you, right 1, towards you, right 1, and then you can actually extend that block down by 1, and then extend it, and extend it, and extend it, and you will eventually connect to the opposite side of the runway like this. So you can see that we actually have quite a clear, like now we have kind of like a nice clear sort of like launching pad for the Batmobile. And what we now want to do is we actually want to fill in we kind of want to fill in this little area. So like to start with, we want to use light grey concrete to fill in the center part of this strip right here. So like the first initial part, the part that you would go up from as soon as you enter the cave, this wants to be filled in using light grey, like this. We also want to fill the very center part of this in, which by the way is this block. The way that you figure it out is where you place the andesite, you want to find the center row of the light grey, which is here, destroy it and place a sea lantern. This is just for an additional bit of light. If you wanted to, you could even place additional sea lanterns if you wanted the place to be a bit better lit. It's up to you though. However, on the opposite side of this runway, we want to have the same support structure that we have on that side. So that means placing an andesite in the equivalent position here, and then up one, we want to place upside down stone brick stairs coming outwards from the first initial andesite, with stone brick slabs on top and stone brick slabs extending inwards. We want to connect the support structure down to the ground using polished andesite. And we also want to connect that upper andesite using cobblestone wall to wherever the ceiling is going to be. You'll see later on that the ceiling is actually quite malleable and it will change. And yours will not look like mine. Mine will not look like yours because they're going to be so different. Now, once you've got this part taken care of, we're now going to fill in what I'm calling this like the launch pad, but I mean, it's just where the Batmobile is going to sit pretty much. So we want to take this area right here, and we want to place some sea lanterns around it. So, for instance, like, we want to take out our sea lanterns, and we want to place a sea lantern in the middle of every single side. So, like, you'll be able to figure it out. Like, this is the middle of the front, and well, there's actually like, whoops, we need to fill this in a little bit. So first, just like connect the front together using light grey concrete like this. I guess you could even use like stairs if you wanted to. I mean, whatever you think looks better, so it's a bit more rampy. But the point is that you just want to have a solid row here, to which you can then place a sea lantern in the middle of. You also want a sea lantern in the middle of the left-hand side and the right-hand side. They all want to be in the middle, so do make sure that they are. And you also want to place, like, additional sea lanterns. So, like, on the ends of, like, each side, you kind of, like, want an extra sea lantern. So, you don't even have to have this many. It really is just about lighting, because you'll find that the inside of the cave is very, very dark, as you might imagine. So you can see that we've kind of like, we've placed them in the middle, we've placed them on the ends of each side, and I'm also going to place one in the center of the corners as well. So despite the fact that this is a circle, because it's Minecraft, it does have a corner, and you want to place them in each one of the 4 corners, like this. Once again, this is just to provide more light. Well, the corner is important, and the reason that it's important is because it's actually going to help us map out where the bat insignia is going to be. So, we want to take this side here, so we're on the left-hand side, on the upper side of the platform. We want to take this sea lantern, and we want to place a light grey concrete going right of it, and then a black concrete underneath. Place 2 black concrete going right, 1, 2, and then place a light grey concrete going right, a black concrete underneath, a light grey going right, a black concrete underneath, place a black concrete going right, and then go up from it by 2, 1, 2, in this direction. Then place a light grey going right, and then a black concrete going right. Go down by 2 with the black, 1, 2, and then right by 1 with the black. Go up 1 with the light grey. Go right by 1 with the black. Go up by 1 with the light grey, and then go right by 3 with the black, 1, 2, 3. Then go down by 1 with the light grey, and then left 1 with the black, down with the light grey, left with the black, down with the light grey. Then you want to place 2 black going actually 3 black going left, 1, 2, 3. Go down by 2, 1, 2. You then want to go down by 1 with the light grey, left by 1 with the black, up 1 with black, left, and then you want to go up by 2, 1, 2, and then go left by 2, 1, 2, and then you want to go up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. The shape that you're looking for should look like this. Fill the center of this in using black concrete. This includes the body and the right wing. Make sure that it's even on both sides, I do believe it is, and then you can proceed to fill the rest of the platform in using light grey concrete. So simply fill in the bat itself using your black concrete, and fill in the rest of the platform as big as it is using your light grey concrete. This might take a while, as I said, the concrete, the platform is actually quite big, which means you will of course need a lot of concrete. But this is by far the best material that I kind of found to make this. I mean, wool doesn't make sense, you can't get the right colours in terracotta. Concrete is really the only way to go, I have found. So we just have the bottom part of the platform to fill in now, and then we can add some finishing touches to this particular part of the platform, and then we can finish this off. So let's just add that, and what we're looking for should actually look very much like this. Now, once you have that taken care of, ladies and gentlemen, what we now want to do is we want to place grey concrete, and we want to place grey concrete in very specific places. So, for instance, we want to place a grey concrete. Let me make sure that I am getting this right. Like, I do want to place it in the right place. So, like, we want to place a grey concrete here at the entrance, and here, left and right of these stairs, and the equivalent space on the back. So, like, if we come to the opposite side, we also want a grey concrete. You can see it, like, over there, like here, and here. Like, you can see where to place it. And then you want to place black stained glass pane on top of the outer part of this. So like on top of the outer grey concrete, just to connect the sides together and just to make it a little bit safer, and I think also make it look a little bit better. You also want to place a little bit of black stained glass pane, a little bit of black glass. And you'll end up with something that should look like that, which is looking pretty decent if I do say so myself. And just to add some further finishing touches to this particular part, so we want to add some more supports. So underneath this big center platform, as you might imagine, you know, you'd want a supporting beam, right? So you kind of got to figure out where the center of the platform is. So you know that this is the middle of the platform where we have the middle sea lanterns. You know that this is the middle of the platform. And you know that this part is the middle of the platform because of the other sea lanterns, and the fact that it's also like the center of the bat. So this would be the middle. I'm going to temporarily delete this block right here, and I'm going to place a row of andesite coming up from the ground up to this block, and then I'm going to replace it with black concrete. That's an easy way to find the middle of the platform. And now we're just going to create a supporting structure around this. So we'll take the bottom of this pillar and we'll place a couple of grey concrete coming out from the pillar at the bottom. We'll also place something like a light grey concrete in each one of the four corners. We'll extend the grey concrete upwards by one, only the parts that are connecting to the centre of the platform. We'll place some stone brick slabs in between the bottom part of this support structure, like this. And then we will place cobblestone wall coming upwards to meet with the bottom of the platform. This is going to be placed all around the andesite. I'm kind of actually just freestyling this at the moment because I think that actually looks like quite a good supporting structure. If you wanted to, you could expand it out at the top. Perhaps you could make it look like it does at the bottom, maybe just by adding a couple of rows of andesite just to kind of like further support the platform. But something like that would look fine, and then you could even place like the light grey in the middles of the corners, and that actually looks quite good like that. We also just want, well, I mean, we don't actually need to add any support beams to this long part because it does already have the two middle parts. It was just that part that I was thinking needed a little bit more something, although you're not going to see it that much anyway. So far, we have this. This is what we got so far. Not looking too bad. We've done a large majority of the inside of the Batcave. The next point of the Batcave is going to be the part where, like, Batman would actually hang out. His computer, the entrance into Wayne Manor, etc, etc. So, what we're going to do here is we want to take this left grey concrete that is sticking up out of the back of the platform. This one right here, you'll be able to see it, no issue. So, we want to take this sticky up block, and we want to extend it backwards by 2. 1, 2, going towards the back of the cave. And then we want to go up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1. And then we want to extend it left by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back by 1, and then left by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we want to go back by 1, left by 2, 1, 2, and then we want to go back 1, and then left 1, back 1, like that. And then we want to do 3 up left diagonals going towards the left-hand side of the cave. 1, 2, 3. And then left 2, 1, 2. And then inwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. So we want to have a structure that should look like this. And this is the left-hand side of the platform that Batman himself would hang out. And that up raised bit is going to be where you would enter, like, Wayne Manor, or at the very least, like, where you'd enter, like, the elevator. Come to the opposite side of the platform here, and take the opposite sticky up, like, grey concrete, and extend it backwards by 2, 1, 2, then up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Extend that right block to the right by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back 1, right by 3, 1, 2, 3, then in 1, right by 2, 1, 2, and then in 1, right 1, in 1, right 1, in 1, right 1, and then go in by, like, 2 or 3, 1, 2, let's make it 3. So we want to have something which should, so far, look a little bit like this. So what we have here is the platform. Kind of, this is like the base part of the platform. It would benefit us now to place a base under the platform. So using, like, stone brick slabs, place, like, a base underneath the platform. So not directly underneath the grey concrete. So, like, inwards from the grey concrete, you don't really want to, like, place it, like, directly underneath it. You don't want it to be, like, visible from the outside. So something like that would look good. That'd look fine. And you just want to place, like, a base underneath this. And what this means is that it will just allow us to place stuff on top of it. And you only really need the platform to come about as far back as you have with the grey concrete. So, like, is that maybe about as far as you want to come back? Or maybe we'll go with this side on the left here, maybe just a couple more rows. About that, about this far back, we'll know if we need more room because we're going to be placing stuff next. Like, we'll be placing the Bat computer, for instance, and we'll be placing, we've actually forgotten a couple of things. Not that we wouldn't have had enough room for them anyway, actually, but we have forgotten a couple of things. It's my fault, to be honest. We wouldn't have had enough room, I don't think, anyway, but we're going to, like, be making, like, Batman and Robin's suit, for instance. They're, like, in jar containers and stuff. Like, you'll see what I mean. Like, they're in those big giant, like, see-through tubes. That's, like, kind of like a really cool feature of the Batcave. But yeah, we'll just continue, like, filling in the base of this thing a little bit. So, you know, just so that you got a bit of space to play around with, something like that will do just fine. And you might also want to make, like, stairs for this part. So, like, that's going to mean just placing like stairs here and here and, like, here on just so that we're like meeting down to the level of the platform, like the previous platform, like this. And then you can simply place like a stone brick slabs row here, just so that you gently like hit the floor. Something like that is absolutely fine. Yeah, that looks fine to me. So first things first, we're going to place the back computer. The way to find where this is, you want to find the center of the stairs at the top. So like where the long straight rows of grey concrete are, you want to find the center stone in the middle, which is this. And you want to count inwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place down a cobblestone wall with a stone brick stairs on top of it facing inwards. And place wooden trapdoors on the sides of this, like this, to create a chair. I wanted to use iron trapdoors, but I couldn't. Move 2 rows inwards from the chair, so that'd be 1 row, and then 2 rows. And then move left by 3, 1, 2, 3, and place a cobblestone wall. Then move back to the center of the chair, and then move to the right by 3 again. 1, 2, 3, cobblestone wall. Then grab the stone slabs and the quartz slabs, and you want to place a stone slab on top of each wall and connect them together in the middle. Extend the stone slabs backwards by 2 rows. So that's going to be 1 row and 2 rows. This might be a bit of a mistake actually, but that's kind of just to show you like where the desk is going to be. Well, we want to take the middle of the desk, the very middle, and we want to place a row of quartz slabs on top of it. So yeah, unfortunately we do. I did goof a little bit in that I did fill the center of this in, but it's okay. We would have had to have placed something anyway. So we want to knock out the very center of the table, and we want to have quartz slabs on top of the center of the table, and then we want to have 2 rows of glass on top of the quartz slabs, 1 and 2 rows of glass, and then a row of quartz slab on top of this. And then come behind, and we need to have the yellow concrete and the black concrete. Place a black concrete in the bottom center, and then a yellow concrete on top. Extend that yellow concrete left and right of the black, and fill in the rest of the screen using yellow concrete. The effect that you're looking for should look very similar to this. You can then either place like stone. Where are we? Where is stone? You can place like stone on top of the computer if you want, and maybe like on like maybe just to the maybe not to the left and right of it, but you can definitely place like stone behind it if you like, just so that it looks as though the computer is like built into the wall, like this sort of effect right here. But we also have 2 additional monitors. The first monitor comes out of the back of the computer on the left, and it comes out of like this side, this yellow block that we have right here. And we want to place a row of 3 quartz slab coming out left of here, like 1, 2, and 3. And then we want to place 2 rows of glass on top, 1, 2, and then a row of quartz slab. And then we want the same on the opposite side, like this bottom right hand yellow block. We want to do 1, 2, 3 quartz slabs with 2 rows of glass on top, with quartz slab on top of that. We want to place blue concrete behind this because I just wanted to make this look colorful, to be honest. Like, this is the computer. You could even make it bigger if you wanted. You could add more screens and such, but I kind of like left it at that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to place like stone behind this. Like, you're really going to want to build it into the wall. It's really preferential if people don't see the sides of the screen, like where you have like the blue and stuff. It's really preferential for if that illusion isn't broken. Because like if you look at the side of the screen without like the stone, then you're just going to get like exposed blue blocks. So you really do want to build it into something. You could even make a good attempt at like adding some I don't know, like I don't know how to get rid of like this particular part without destroying a little bit of the computer itself. So like a little bit of exposed like yellow on the side is fine, but you know, do try and like actually build like the desk and stuff into into the wall or the wall into the desk, however it is that you have to do it, and just make sure that it looks like nice and tidy. So like from the front, you know, something like that looks just fine. You can see that it's built in. Maybe make it look a bit more natural by adding some, like, you know, something like this. Maybe even a little bit of, like, you know, cobblestone wall in here, something like that, you know, just to make it look as though that it's part of the cave, if that makes sense. So once you've got that sorted out, we can move on to the next feature. So to the left of the desk, you actually want to take the very bottom front left-hand leg of the desk, and you want to leave a gap of 4 going left. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 5th block, you want to use your grey concrete, and you want to place a concrete. And then place 3 iron bars going left. 1, 2, 3. And then a grey concrete. Extend the concrete up by 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Fill in the iron bars in between, like this. Like that. And then you actually want to extend the grey concrete backwards until it would eventually, like, sink into the wall. Like, again, what we're going to be doing later on, and what you're going to realize later on, is that a lot of the Batcave is like you can build the interior and you can build the outside of the cave around the interior. So, like, we're going to have to build up like an entire cave wall back here, something like this. And that means that we can use like a little bit of cave for like the top of this particular part of it, and that also means that we can use stone slabs to also like build in a little bit of the roof here, like this. So we can build in a little bit of the roof like that, and it doesn't always, it doesn't even have to be that straight. Like, you could destroy a block here, and you could have like this, and you could have like, you always feel free to use like some stone brick slabs and stuff to kind of like just add some, you know, just to add a little bit more authenticity to this build. And you can even fill in underneath the cage as well with a little bit of stone brick slabs, because like I said, it is supposed to be like it's supposed to be like the inside of a cave. You might even want to make like, you might want to make it look as though that there's more to the actual inside of that by adding a little bit of like black concrete. Something like that looks just fine. And that is just a prison, so you might even want to add like a door to that thing and stuff, but it's really just for show. And just left here, we want to have some stairs, okay? So on the left hand side, we want to have some stairs. So if you just place 2 stone brick stairs coming outwards from every single one of these diagonal blocks like this, and then when you get towards the top sort of area, just place place like a flat stone brick slab. So something like this. So like you're able to climb like straight up the stairs, and then you're on a flat. And then build up from the other side using grey concrete. Just kind of like build up the other side of the stairs like this. And we want to be able to have like, if we decide to do this, because I might actually make this, like if we ever want to make like Wayne Manor, then I want to be able to have an entrance up into Wayne Manor. So that means that, you know, we just want to have like a very simple staircase. It's a little bit windy like this, that would eventually take us up through the cave. So like if we look at it from this, it will take us up and out. Something like that will do just fine. And of course, just to keep pointing this out, like this all is cave. Like everything that everything surrounding everything that we've made is cave. So what that means is that like around the stairs, we're gonna have like walls and stuff. Like around this, there's going to be a wall. Like you can build it up a little bit. Like as we're doing this part, you can like build it up a bit, because we are going to have to do this. So like if you have a look, like there's going to be a wall behind here. The way to do it really is like through, it's random. Like the way to do it is completely random. Like you just place blocks wherever you feel as though that you should place blocks, if that makes sense. So like, by the way, like I said, this is where like we're going to be, this is where we'd go up into the manor. So So I'll just create kind of like a little artificial entrance like this. Like this is where we go into the manor. And I'm just going to place some black concrete behind this. It's kind of like a little bit of a placeholder, right? So like that's like where we would enter up into it. But if you were to imagine, like I'm doing a little bit of this now. If you were to imagine it, then, you know, we're going to have like the cave is like going to be built back and down, like coming towards the ground like this. Like it's going to, like, it's gonna do a little something like this. Like we'll like connect down to the ground like so, kind of in like a very sloppy manner. And later on, we'll be building like an entire, like if you look at that shape, we're going to be going all the way around here, and we're going to be building a very large wall that is going to connect to this row of sea lanterns here. But let's finish off this particular part of where Batman will be hanging around, and then we can talk about that stuff. So if we come to the right hand side now, so we want to take the front right hand corner of Batman's desk, which is this, and we want to leave a gap of 4 again going right. So we want to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, and 4 on this 5th block. Place 3 grey concrete going right. 1, 2, 3. Gap of 1, 3 grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, like this. You want to then place in front of the center blocks stone slabs like that. And you want to, what we kind of want to do is we want to build, okay, so what we want to do is we want to take these center blocks, these center greys, and we want to place a sea lantern behind the center. And we want to place grey concrete left and right of the sea lanterns, like this. We want to grab armor stands, because that's going to be very important. We need armor stands. I'm sorry that we didn't have this, but I don't think we would have had room for all of the dies and stuff we'll need. And we'll place armor stands on top of the sea lanterns. We then want to kind of like clove these armor stands. Now, I can't actually for the life of me remember how to dye. I don't know if there's another way. D-Y-E, not D-I-E. We want to grab leather caps, leather tunic, leather pants, leather boots. Now, I know that you can dye using this. You can use water buckets and cauldrons. I don't know if there's a faster way. If you know of it, then please use this way. So I'm going to load up a few cauldrons. And first of all, we're going to use black dye. So, ink sacks. I'm going to fill a cauldron with water, ink sac, and then I'm going to dye a hat, tunic, leather pants, leather boots. This left-hand side is going to be all black, this left armor stand. That's going to be Batman's, that is going to be Batman's suit. And I'm actually going to get rid of all of that, right? And destroy the cauldron with dye in it. Going to grab more water, and this time I'm going to grab, what will I need? Okay, let me think. So, I mean, Robin wears a mask. He wears a black mask, so we'll grab a black ink sac. He also wears like a red top, so like rose red. And we'll also grab like green, like he wears kind of like those green like short sort of things. And we'll give him like yellow boots, because you know, it's like in a bit of yellow. So let's make all of this. We'll make the cauldrons all of those colors, and we'll also need all of this. There we go. So black mask, red top, green bottoms, yellow boots. That seems like about right. And we will just outfit this. There we go. We'll outfit that pretty much. That's a mannequin pretty much. We'll outfit it like that. We need some white stained glass paint, and we're going to place 3 rows of glass around the top of the grey concrete. So like 1. Oh, this is so tricky. 2, 3. Like 3 rows of glass, specifically paint, and we're going to place it around the top of the grey concrete like this. I really do dislike placing paint like that. I'm gonna do that on that one side, and because that was so difficult, I'm gonna place it on this side too. There we go. Then one more. No, come on. Then just there we go, like that, in the center. Perfect. Yeah, that looks quite good to me. So we've taken those, and what we then want to do is we want to customize the top a bit. We want to grab grey concrete stone slabs, and what we could even do is we could light them from the top as well, actually. Like, we could use a sea lantern. If you place a stone slab on top of the front 2 corners of each one of the display cases, place a grey concrete in between the slabs, sea lanterns behind the grey, and then grey concrete behind the slabs, like this. And then if you place a stone slab on top of the sea lantern, what you'll end up with this sort of effect right here. And I guess maybe what you could do is you could even like add some buttons around the base of this thing. And does that make it look better or does it make it look worse? You guys will have to decide that for yourselves. I'm not sure whether I like that better or worse. What we're also going to do is we're just going to build up this cave wall a little bit behind this area. So like I said, like all of this is cave, all of this, and like we're going to have to build the cave wall like directly behind these two display cases specifically, like this. And they're going to have to come all the way up to the top because the glass needs something to grip onto, and I want something behind the cases like this, and can even build up like a little bit in the middle of them, make it look all natural like I said, and yeah, that looks fine. We'll connect everything later on with the computer and everything, but yeah, they look quite good. We're also going to add some additional lighting. We're going to use sea lanterns and wooden trapdoors, and we'll add a light here with wooden trapdoors around it, just like in this corner, and the opposite corner as well, like sea lantern here. And you don't have to add that many torches, the way that I've got it set up. We're also going to have two hanging lights later on that are going to come from the ceiling. But so far, ladies and gentlemen, I know that this has taken a long time. I'm so sorry it has taken so long, but this is how long it takes. This is what we have built. Doesn't this look really cool by itself? Am I crazy? Does this look incredible? I think so. So what we have right now is this is the inside of the Batcave pretty much. This is the inside. This is the part that is needed and required. Both of ours will look very similar to this. But what happens next is we need to build up the cave. This is what I've been saying for a long time. So let me explain. The cave itself needs to cover, the cave itself needs to at least come out this far. It needs to come out as far as this row of sea lanterns at the start of the build. Like the cave needs to come out as far as this. It needs to come out as far as the sea lanterns at the start of the build, like this. So like if you imagine the cave, it needs to come out far enough on the left and right hand side. So like on the left and right hand side, it needs to come out far enough that there is suitable space from the middle and from where you would exit into Wayne Manor. And it also has to come as far out on the right. It has to come out as far out on the right as that you it's not going to like impede, like it's not going to get in the way of the display cases. And the cave itself has to come as far backwards as it has to come far backwards enough to cover up all of the stuff that we have at like the back of the computer. So like about as far as over there, like it has to come about this far back. So if you can imagine that the cave is going to be, I mean, this is a little bit bigger than the actual like plans that I drew on the floor, but like if you start off with like a circle or a square, that's going to be the easiest way to do it. It can be a rough circle, it can be a rough square, it can be like a normal size, it can be a normal shape. It's completely up to you. You guys saw the original version of this. You can have any starting point. So it needs to be this big. You guys can see that we've kind of like laid out a plan here for the cave. We just have to connect it at the back a little bit much. So like I'm just gonna shape it a bit just so that it's kind of like, you know, like a normal circular-ish sort of shape. I don't want it to be kind of like too blocky, but like coming about as far as this, maybe even stick out a little bit more like that. That's fine. So you can see that we kind of have like a floor plan for the cave. We know it has to be that big. But what that means is that you can now customize the shape of your cave. So you can add a few more rows onto the out part of the cave. Like you can make it look a bit more circular. You can make it bigger. You can shrink it a little bit. Like just make sure you got enough room for all of the stuff. Like this is about this is what we do. We just make the shape of the cave like this. You can see that we're just messing about with the inside. You can even extend the cave inwards in some parts. Like you can have the cave extend inwards. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape. It's easy to like make it and then customize the thing. Like it's easy to like build up the walls and then add stuff and take stuff away, just like you would like you know, like Play-Doh or whatever. whatever, or clay. So like just draw a general shape on the floor of the cave. The next part is to build up the walls. So you're going to want to build up the walls by taking the outer blocks of your cave, and you want to raise them up a few rows at a time. So like this, I'll do a little bit of it with you because, you know, I can do a little bit, but then the rest of it is going to kind of have to be like done by yourselves. But like, you just want to gradually raise up the cave wall like this. It wants to be kind of like a few rows at a time, and you want to gradually raise up the cave inwards and upwards like this. This will give it a more realistic feel, and it will also shrink the top of the cave as you get to the top of it, which is kind of good for the inside part of the cave, you see, because it kind of gives that more confined feel. It's like it's not too big, and it feels a little bit cozier, a little bit nicer inside the cave. But you know, something like this, and then you can build like a couple of rows upwards like this. You can use stone, you can use grass, you can use all sorts of stuff, but you know, make sure that some parts of it are a bit more built out than others, and just make sure that it's, just make sure that it's like a natural shape. Just make sure that it's high enough, make sure that you do retain enough space on the inside, and do make sure that it's just a nice pleasing shape to look at. So, you know, we're actually getting to the point. No, we're not. We're not quite high enough, but you know, you can see that the outer part of this wall, it doesn't look too bad. And later on, I'll be adding some like grass blocks and stuff to the outer side of this, and you know, we'll just be building around it. It's really, a lot of it is this. Like it's just a lot. It's just a lot of like throwing blocks and blocks at it, and it's going to take a long time. This is probably the most time-consuming part of the Batcave. We also want to make sure that the entrance, which is the sea lantern part, like we want to make sure that we have a big enough entrance to enter inside and outside of the cave. So if you just like raise up each side of the end of the, like this part, like if you just like raise up each end like this, and then if you kind of add like, you know, some blocks, kind of like taper it a little bit. You're looking for kind of like an archway sort of shape like this. And then just add some blocks on the inside like this, and you just want to make it look nice and realistic, something that could appear in like Minecraft nature and stuff, like something like that look just fine. And that can like be the inside of the cave, and we can add the water inside of this, and we can drop it down, and we can have it we could actually make the entrance look a bit nicer than my original one does. Like just make that's like the entrance. I'm also going to be covering up the entrance, like the sides of this walkway here. I'll be placing like some grass blocks and stuff like this, just to like build up the side, the entrance, like, because of course we don't want to have to fill in the entirety of that underneath part there, so we can just add in some like stone and some grass and stuff like this, just to like fill in the side of this. But yeah, this is like kind of what I'm going to be doing. Like this is a lot. This is it. Like this is how you fill it in. This is how you make it look all good. And I'm even going to be adding some like bone meal and stuff to this part. So like this, I'll be adding some bone meal to it. So I'll tell you what, I'll do a decent portion of the outside of the cave. Like I'll connect it all together. I'll make it look nice. I'll connect a decent portion of the cave together, and then I'll show you what it looks like. But you know, you're going for this effect. It wants to be higher. It wants to encompass the top of the cave. You want it all to connect at the top. You want all of the walls built up. I'll show you what it looks like. It's the best way to do it, I think. Okay, so I'm nowhere near done here, but you can kind of see what I'm trying to get at. I'm slowly building the base of the cave in the same fashion that I just showed you how to do it. I'm going to catalog the whole experience of gradually building this up. I'm expecting you guys to also be doing this as well, instead of like waiting for me to be finished. This is going to take a long time, but you can see that also, like in the process of building up, the inside of the cave also looks quite realistic whilst we are doing this. But I'm going to kind of like join this like all the way around the sides, and then I'll slowly build up all the way at the top. At the back, if you don't come up far enough, like if you don't like do a big enough incline, you're going to find that like if you try and like do this, like this, like, you're gonna, like, hit the bottom of the platform. So do be wary about that. You're gonna have to, like, probably come up, like, steeper at the back than you are on the sides. But yeah, I'll continue on. So I thought that this might be a good thing to mention. Some parts of this might be a little bit easier if you like build from the inside. So like we're still building up the outside of the cave, but if you do it from like the inside, you might find it a little bit easier. You might find it goes faster, and you might also find you might find it a little bit easier, like especially when you're going around the back here, like where all the stuff is. You might find it a little bit better. Just to show a little bit of a progress, if we come back here, you can see that I've made the back of the cave wall. I've not made it as detailed as I'd like, because it's the back. You know, you're not going to be seeing it that much, and this is, of course, my second cave, so I don't want to spend a massive amount of time. I just want to show you guys the techniques that you would use to actually build it up. But yeah, if you do it from, like, the inside as well, like, if you find that you're not, like, if you're not getting the shape that you want on the outside, then the inside is also, like, vastly more important as well. Now that I think about it, because it's from the inside of the cave, like, it's important that you have like nice looking rock formations and stuff like that. And you know, I don't know, it's just something that I kind of wanted to point out. Like, there is an option to build from the inside, and yeah, I'd say I'm maybe like a third of the way done at this point, maybe even not that. So I'll continue on. Right, I feel as though we're actually making quite a lot of progress now. I've made about, I'd say, like half or so of the cave, or at least the outer walls of it. I do still have to do the ceiling, but just to show you, like, this is how it's kind of going, and it does look quite nice on the inside as well. All I have to do is I just have to extend that side over to this side. I just have to, you know, kind of like mirror it a little bit. I also, of course, have to shape this outer part too. I have to make it a bit more circular. I might even bend the cave inwards a little bit. Like, I might cut the corner off at this part here, so that I don't have a massive, huge build-up of just like a huge pool of water. But I'll shape the cave on the outside. I'll build up the walls a little bit, and I'll check in with you guys again. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I have now done the majority of this wall of the cave. This does mean that we do have all of the cave wall done, like the sides. So if we come on the inside now, you'll be able to see that now, you know, it's looking quite good. The last two things that I want to do involving the outside of this place, because I really don't want to do that much detail on the outside. It really is about the inside. I have to cover up this area here with a bit of stone and some grass and stuff. I also have to do the cave roof. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how to make a roof. It's the same thing. I'm going to make mine relatively flat. So, like, I'm going to make mine quite flat like this, and then I'll add some contours, and I'll add, you know, some concave bits, some convex bits and stuff, once the roof itself is put on, like, because I am going to be adding more detail to the inside of the cave once we have got, like, this part done, which is, like, the rough part. We do have some more things that we do have to do, you know, just to apply a little bit more detail, but, you know, something like that will look just fine, and once we're in here, I'll show you the sorts of stuff that we can add that'll add some more detail. But I am going to get this all filled in, this part in particular, with a little bit of grass and stuff. I'll finish the roof, and then we can talk about what sorts of things we might want to add to the inside of the cave once it has been done, just to make it look a little bit better. But of course, by the way, this I should point this out. If you are happy with a very, very basic look for the inside of the cave, the outside of the cave, if you're happy to just have it all filled in, and like, if you just want like a basic look for the outside of the cave, you don't need it to look realistic and stuff, then, you know, just invest as much time as you are willing to do. You know, don't try and be a little bit like OCD like I am, and, you know, clean things up and everything. Just make it to your specifications. Alright, so now I have officially made the entire outside of the cave. I don't see me doing much to add detail to this, because, as I keep saying, it's not the outside that is that important, it is the inside. So, once you have reached this point yourself, and trust me, I know how long this takes. I think I've been at this for literally an hour. Yeah, I think I've been making the cave for an hour, which is insanity. So, pause the video if you have to. Follow the steps that I've laid out for you, and you should hopefully manage to do this without too much issue. I think it is quite a straightforward process. So, let's talk about details that we can add to the inside of the cave to make it a little bit more presentable. So the first couple of things that I'm actually going to add involve lighting to make it a bit brighter and lighter in here. Somewhere up near where Batman himself would sit with his computer and stuff, I want to add a couple of hanging lights using iron bars, sea lanterns, and wooden trapdoors. I think I'm going to add them like, I want them to be like in line with the edge of the platform. So like from this block, I'm just going to build upwards, and I'll have a sea lantern hanging about that far up, like it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5 blocks off the ground, right? And I'll have wooden trapdoors surrounding the sea lantern, except for the top. That'd be a bit silly because we're going to use iron bars, and I'm just going to have like a hanging sea lantern light, and we could have more of these spread throughout the actual cave itself if we so wanted to. And I'll come to the opposite side, the equivalent point, which would be this one, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is going to be the sea lantern that I want to have hanging. And like I said, you could have more of these, you could have less of these, you could spread them throughout the cave. I think it is really, I kind of like this cave in the fact that the parts of the cave that are highlighted, so like the middle part here, the runway, the platform, and where Batman hangs out, these are the parts that are lit up. I quite like that. All of the rest of the cave is kind of like in shadows. So, speaking of adding details to the rest of the cave, I'm going to need a few things. I need myself a little bit of cobblestone wall, stone brick slabs. I need some andesite, some cobblestone, some stone, and I'm even going to need a little bit of water as well. So what do I have to add in here? What I do want to add, not what I have to add, is I want to add like, they're called like stalactites and stalagmites. Now I don't know which is which, but one comes from the ground, and it's basically like a spike of rock that comes from like the ground, and I want to add some of these. And I want to add some that, like, come from the ceiling, too. Like, whichever is which, like, stalactites and stalagmites, I want to have, you know, both of them. So, like this, and, you know, you can detail them using little bits of, like, cobblestone wall and stuff. And you can detail them using a little bit of, like, stone brick slabs and stuff like that, just to make them look a little bit nicer. And I want to have them also, like, hanging from the ceiling, too. So, that's one over there. Maybe we add one, which position? This, yeah, maybe about here. I kind of like the idea of having one here. I'll make this one out of cobblestone, like have this hanging down like this, just like in a similar fashion as I just did the other one, like it's just like a normal spike. This one could perhaps be even a little bit smaller actually, because this one is hanging from the roof, so you know, something like that looks, it doesn't look too bad, and you know, you can just add a few of them around the cave. Like they don't all have to be the same size. Some of them can be a lot a lot bigger and a lot smaller than the others. You can make some of them a lot more detailed. They don't all have to be the same. You know, just make them to your own specifications. You don't even have to do them if you don't want to. It's just I kind of like the idea of them. I just like the idea of having a little bit extra in the cave, and of course you could add some around here too. So they're pretty much the couple of things that you're looking to do inside of the cave just to make it a little bit nicer and brighter. I mean, what you could also do as well is you could add some stone formations coming out of the sides of the cave, like at the bottom. Like you could shape the cave in such a way that you have some more like formations of stone coming out of the sides like this, and you could even have like little like islands of rock and stuff, like just kind of like floating in the water. Like if you wanted to, like you don't have to add this much detail if you don't actually want to at all. Like it really is up to you however much you want to add. I mean, that's probably about enough for me. The cave is quite detailed as it is, and the next thing that we're going to do two things, both involve water. So we want to have a waterfall entrance, and we have a load of sea lanterns at the beginning of the build. I'm going to destroy all of these sea lanterns here, and I'm going to, in the corresponding blocks, I'm going to have water. Oh, well, that's stupid of me, wasn't it? Well, how do I best do this? I want to have water flowing singular. Well, I mean, I guess it could come. Let's see. Let's place a load of water here, and let's see if we can clean it up and have it looking presentable. Like I just want to have like a nice water barrier here. I mean, that's kind of fine, actually. I mean, as long as it doesn't flow all the way down onto the runway, that's kind of actually fine. And we just want to have some water here too. Yeah, that's kind of okay. And then maybe like covering up here at the top a little bit more, something like that. Maybe, you know, really fill it in a little bit like this. That doesn't look too bad. And from the outside, how does that look? That looks just fine, actually. That looks, yeah, that looks fine to me. I mean, maybe it'd be a bit better if, what if we have that so that there's a bit more water exposed? Yeah, that looks pretty decent to me. I think I don't think that looks too bad whatsoever. So now we have our hidden waterfall entrance. And what we have to do now, which is going to be a... Oh, I forgot to actually fill in around here, didn't I? So... all I want to do here is I'm just going to cover up this space using stone, like the inside of the runway. I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. I just want to fill it up. But what we're going to have to do is, well, I mean, have to. It's up to you. You don't have to. But what I'm going to do is I am going to fill in the entire bottom of the cave using water buckets. Now, this is a lengthy process indeed, especially to make sure that it is no longer flowing. But I think that it's a really important part of this. I don't want it just like randomly coming out. I want it to be settled at the base of it. Yeah, I think that this is a really important part of this. I really like how the water looks. And if I had the patience to do it, which I do not, I would replace the floor with, I don't actually have it on me. Blue concrete would work, but I like light blue concrete just, well, because it's lighter. But yeah, I'm actually going to fill in the entire base of the cave in using water. And like I said, if I had the patience, I'd actually fill in the base of it using light blue concrete so that it kind of pops a little bit more. But I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to do that after recording, guys, because just like everything with this cave, it takes such a long time. I don't want to make this video even longer because I bet that it is well over an hour at this point. And that is that. I have actually filled in the cave floor completely with water. It didn't take as long as I thought it might, actually. And that is the last component to the Batcave. And just to go through a list of things that have to be done. So we made the interior of the Batcave. We did that together, so we know that that's done. But we have to have a completely filled in outer shell of the cave made out of stone and grass, whatever it is that you use to fill in the outer part of the cave. We may have to make sure that the runway itself was all filled in as well at the sides and stuff, so that we don't have any like big gaps. I'd even consider bone mealing the sides of it as well, by the way. I did forget. I think I actually mentioned it earlier, just because I think it kind of allures people into the actual waterfall itself. We have to have a flowing waterfall that hides the entrance to the Batcave. We have to have that. That's a thing. And oh, did I actually do this wrong? Let me see here. So I could have added, right, like an additional row of light grey concrete here, couldn't I? And I could then go underneath here and just make it so that nothing like spills through here, and then that'd actually be just fine, right? And then the water would just settle in. Did I do things a stupid way? Probably. That describes me perfectly, doing things a stupid way. But I actually quite like how that looks. It looks kind of a bit more natural. We also added water to the base of the cave. We added a little bit more lighting, so like all of the important-ish parts of the cave are illuminated. The only thing that isn't like nice and lit up is the actual like back computer itself. So I don't know if you'd like to do something to counteract that, but I mean, you could absolutely add some lights and stuff around it to make it look shine a little bit brighter. We also detailed the cave after we added the water by adding some stalactites, stalagmites, some rock formations, stuff like that. And that's pretty much everything. If you want to have a look at it with the potion of night vision, oh my god, it's like a completely different build when you pop that. Like, you can actually see stuff. Like, there's a load more detail that you can absolutely add to this. You could add loads of little bits of bobs and stuff, but I wanted to make a kind of like a simple version of the cave. As big as it is quite a simple version of the Batcave, but absolutely gets across the point of what this build is. The only thing that we're missing, of course, is the Batmobile, but I will be making a tutorial for that, and you'll see it tomorrow. I'll literally post it the day after this, don't worry. You'll be able to make both of them, and you can combine both of the builds together, but I'm sure that some of you guys might not want it. Some of you guys will want it, but won't want it in here. You know, there's stuff like that, so I figured that I'd keep it all separate. And that's it, everybody. I hope that you've managed to make this, I really do. Odds are you might still be on... might still be building the outer part of the cave because it is a big build to do. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please do like the video. I'd really appreciate that. If you do enjoy the tutorials, if you enjoy the content, if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 likes on this. I would absolutely love that. If you would like to make any more things by me, please do consider subscribing to the channel, because I am going to be posting more cartoon, more movie related builds, and I'm even thinking about doing Wayne Manor, which would sit on top of this build, which I think would go together very nicely. I think that'd be kind of insane. I would love to do that. That'd be like an awesome mega build, like a few big builds in one. Be crazy. So if you want to keep up to the channel with that, if you want to keep checking it out, please, you know, do that. Subscribe to the channel, click the little bell. If you want to see any more specific builds by me, you got to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see next. And if you do want to make any more cartoon related builds or any more builds by me, I am going to be doing the Batmobile. Like I said, you'll find that in the card system in the description below, but you'll also find in the card system in the description below, you'll also find the cartoon builds playlist, which will house all of these cartoon related builds and stuff that you can see behind me. And that's pretty much everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I know that this has been a long video. I know it has been. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.